Hi, this is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe. Today we are talking about how to raise your energy level. Where are we getting that title from? The book, Success for a Positive Mental Attitude, written in 1960. This happens to be a copy from 69. There is a PDF available to anybody in the room. The link is there in the seat next to me. And we are on chapter 16 that is actually titled, How to Raise Your Energy Level. And a cursory reading before I came on this morning tells me we are going to be talking about taking care of our physical selves by using positive mental attitude. It even begins, right? This is the very beginning of the chapter. It says, how is your energy level today? Did you wake up eager to face the tasks ahead? Did you push your chair back from the breakfast table with the feeling that you were raring to go? And did you plunge into your work with enthusiasm? Or as some people say, did you jump out of bed and all ready to go, can't wait to begin the day, and you're eager and high energy? And yes, actually my day started out that way. Now there were two reasons. Before we go any further about positive mental attitude, my eyes popped awake and I had slept in. Good reasons for it. And I glanced at the clock and I had 10 minutes, according to my clock, 10 minutes to get myself camera ready for a meeting with somebody in Scotland. That was 6 a.m. my time. Yes, I'm normally awake by 4:30. There's a reason I slept in. Perfectly good reason. But boy, did I just, hey, mind over matter, which we'll get into shortly, right? I saw, didn't matter whether or not I was fully capable and awake yet. I hit the floor. Two reasons. I'd made a commitment that I was going to meet somebody. But the other one was I really was looking forward to talking with her and meeting her. And I'm very glad that I did. So I did. I was up, hit the floor, feet hit the floor, immediately to the bathroom, brush the teeth, fix the hair, all that needed to happen, right? Got in here, she had no idea. I didn't even have but 2 sips of coffee in me. We had a wonderful meeting. It was absolutely terrific, followed by my coming on here. So I had a total of 10 minutes between that meeting and this one. Do I do that every morning? No. That's part of why I'm eager to learn from you and from this book how to have that kind of energy level. All right. Now, what they're saying in here is, so if you didn't have that type of morning like I just described, or that was described in the book, with low energy levels and not really ready to go each morning, maybe it's time or perhaps for some time now, you just haven't had the vim and vigor that you should have. You're physically just not up to things, right? Well, let's do something about it. Vernon Wolf is a track coach at North Phoenix High School. He's an expert who can show us what to do. He's one of the outstanding coaches in the country. Remember the time frame we're talking about? You can look him up. Vernon Wolf with an E on the end. In the 50s, I'm sure. He's an expert that can tell us what to do, and he can show us what to do. Under his tutelage, several North Phoenix students have broken national prep school records. National records now. So how does he train these stars? Wolf has a double prescription. He teaches them to condition both their minds and their bodies simultaneously. If you believe you can, says Vernon Wolf, most of the time you can. It's mind over matter. You have 2 types of energy. One is physical, the other is mental and spiritual. The latter is by far the more important, for from your subconscious mind you can draw vast power and strength in time of need. Think, for example, of the great feats of strength and endurance you've read about people performing under the stress of intense emotion. There's an automobile accident and a husband is pinned under the overturned car. In her moment of fear and determination, his tiny and frail wife manages to raise the car enough to free him. Or the insane person. The insane person, his mind dominated by his subconscious running wild, can break, lift, bend, and smash with a force he never could hope for during periods of normality. In a series of articles for Sports Illustrated, Dr. Roger Bannister told how he first broke the 4-minute mile on May 6, 1954, by training both his mind and his muscle to accomplish this long-sought dream in the athletic world. For months, he conditioned his subconscious mind into the belief that the record, which some people claimed was unattainable, could be achieved. Others thought of the 4-minute mark as a barrier. Bannister thought of it as a gateway which, if he once passed through, would open the way to many new records for himself and other milers. Wow. And might I add, says Catherine, they had determined the 4-minute mile could not be beat. Yes, is this not what we've been studying and what we've been putting into our own lives and the type of language we've been learning to put into our own lives? They thought it as a barrier, as an obstacle, as a wall, as a stopping point. He thought of it as a gateway. How's that for a change in perspective? I don't have to worry about going over, under, through, around. I just view it as a gateway. It can be accomplished. And the gateway would open his way for himself and others to exceed that current record. And he was right. He led the way. And Catherine's saying now, those involved in track think a 4-minute mile is slow. Isn't that the truth? Talking 70 years later? No, 60. 60 years later? Yes, that's one generation away. All right, 2, Grandpa. Short time frame. He led the way. In a little more than 4 years after he first set a 4-minute mile, the feat was performed 46 times by himself and other runners. And in one race in Dublin, Ireland, August 6, 1958, 5 runners ran the mile in less than 4 minutes. Think about that. So Cindy's saying, I saw a graphic the other day that said something to the effect of everything once was considered impossible until someone did it. Well, there's the key right there, isn't it? Until someone does it, we think of it as impossible. And what we're teaching ourselves here and learning is that that's simply not true, is it? I think also, just to this point, we're seeing a difference in how we actually say what we see. I mean, literally what I'm seeing here, my current takeaway at this point is that just because someone says it's a barrier and it's a wall doesn't mean I can't think of it as a gateway. All right. Now, he goes through all sorts of things. It was Dr. Thomas Curitin, director of the Physical Fitness Laboratory at the University of Illinois, that taught Roger Bannister the secret. Dr. Curitin had developed revolutionary ideas about the body's energy level. They apply to both athletes and non-athletes. Thank goodness, that gives me hope. They can make a runner run faster and the average man live longer. There's no reason why any man can't be as fit at 50 as he was in 20, providing he knows how to train his body. How often do we see today magnificently fit 50, 60, 70, 80-year-old people? I see them all the time. I have my own father. My own father is well into his 70s, and he still has his cross-country racing bicycle that's French-made that I know is 150 years old. You know, you look at things when you're a kid. That was old, right? It was just a few years ago. He teaches physical fitness. now to senior citizens in his community. And he and his wife had traveled overseas and gone on a bicycling tour, cycling tour in Italy. And he thought he was doing great, right? He thought he was, oh, well, and me, non-physical, non-movement person here, thinks, holy crow, you actually did that. That's awesome. And so he talks of how he and his wife were cycling up a hill. And when my father says hill, it is not like easy. I know what he's talking about. And it wasn't a mountainside, but it was for the average cyclist probably unattainable. He says, so we're cycling up the hill, and it was beautiful scenery and all this, but we're pretty focused. That tells me it was an intense hill. And he says, I felt like this non-cyclist. What are you talking about? He says, this 80-year-old woman just passed right by me on her bicycle carrying her groceries. Yeah. So now, we know this is possible. Today we see this a lot, right? So what he's talking about is Dr. Curitin is saying that there's two principles involved here. Train the whole body, push yourself to the limit of endurance, extending the limit with each workout. Now, the art of record breaking is the ability to take more out of yourself than you've got. You punish yourself more and more and rest between spells. Isn't that the truth? So if we're going to do record-breaking physical activity, this is what's required. If we're going to do record-breaking mental activity, this is what's required. We have to be able to take more out of what we think we have. See, that's what I'm seeing him saying, as be able to take more out of yourself than what you've got. And what I'm seeing there is, there's more in me than what I think I have. That's what I'm seeing out of that one sentence. So he and Bannister connected while running physical fitness tests on European athletic stars. And they worked on and conditioned their minds to overcome obstacles. But it all started in the mind, didn't it? I mean, that's where it always starts, is in the mind. Bannister learned how to break big goals into little ones. Shoot, now mentally, I've been doing that for years, and I teach that and walk people through how to do that in my mastermind groups. Is you've got the big goal that you want to accomplish, let's break it down into the steps that you need to do along the way. So the reasoning here is that, again, we're thinking that this is a man who wants to break the 4-minute mile. So Bannister's reasoning that a man ran single quarter mile faster than he ran the 4/4 of a full mile. So he trained himself. Think about this. We're breaking down a big goal into little goals. Bannister reasoned that a man ran a single quarter mile faster than he ran the 4/4 of a full mile. So he trained himself to think of the 4/4 in the mile separately. In his training, he would dash a quarter mile, then jog a lap around the rest of the track. And that was for him to rest. Then he would dash another quarter mile. Each time, he aimed to run the quarter in 58 seconds or less. 58 times 4 equals 232 seconds, or 3 minutes and 52 seconds. He ran to the point of collapse. Then he would rest. Each time, the point of collapse was pushed back a little. When he finally ran his great race, it was 3 minutes, 59.6 seconds. Bannister learned that the more the body endures, the more it will endure. And at that time, there were beliefs about overtraining and staleness, and he proved them to be myths. He was just as emphatic, though. He was just as emphatic about rest. Rest is just as important as the exercise and activity. The body needs to rebuild in even larger quantities what has been torn down and exercise. That's how strength, vitality, energy are developed. The mind and body both recharge during periods of rest and relaxation. If you don't give them a chance to do so, severe damage and even death can result. Yeah, there's no holding back here, is there? And that's what we're all in this for, isn't it? We're here to grow and to learn and to be better. So we're not going to hold back. So the question we have for each other, is it time to recharge your battery? Because there's no glory in being the richest man in the graveyard. Nope, no glory in that. And you don't want to be the best scientist, doctor, executive, salesman, or employee lying prematurely under the most ornate headstone. A loved mother, wife, father, son, or daughter can bring happiness. Why then bring grief? Why be confined to a mental sanitarium, insane asylum, or lie embalmed 6 feet under a blanket of beautiful green grass? Simply because a needless drain damaged a battery that wasn't recharged. So here's a for instance. The small child doesn't know when he's excessively tired, but he surely shows it. He shows it, doesn't he, in his behavior and actions. The adolescent may realize he's over fatigued, but refuse to admit it, even to himself. Then sexual, family, scholastic, and social problems may seem unsolvable and unbearable, and they may motivate him to temporary or permanent destructive acts that injure himself and others. The crux of it is this: when your energy level is low, your health and your desirable characteristics may be subdued by the negative. You, like a storage battery, are dead when your energy level is 0. What's the solution? Recharge your battery? How? How do you recharge? Relax, play, rest, and sleep. Positive mental attitude demands a good mental energy level. Physical energy level demands it. The two are tied. When you're fatigued, your usually positive, desirable feelings, emotions, thoughts, and actions have a tendency to turn negative. When you're rested and in good health, the direction is changed back to positive. So he goes on to talk about supplements and vitamins, wherever that may be necessary or needed, your diet. I mean, it's as simple as if you suspect your diet is deficient in certain vitamins and elements causing your energy level to be depressed, you should do something about it. A good cookbook can help you. And there are government pamphlets available at low cost. If the condition persists, have a physical checkup. How simple is this? The remedy is quite simple, isn't it? I know that many of us, especially solo business owners, tend to grind for way too long between rests. Way too long. We've talked amongst ourselves here over the past weeks of the importance of walking away and taking a break, clear the mind. Now we're focusing on that physical, how important it is to understand that our physical state affects our attitude. We don't have to work so hard on our attitude if our physical condition is better. That's what I'm getting out of this. Catherine's saying, I had things to do and I could have pushed myself this weekend, but I knew I needed to allow my body to recover. Otherwise, it would take longer to recover and I wouldn't be able to give my best until I got to that place of recovery. There you go. I can tell you that last night I shot pool. Oh boy, was I good too. Yes, even my captain saying, oh, you're going to get a lot of patches out of tonight. Yes, it was good. Now, the conditions weren't so great. Physically, I was in good shape. Thank goodness. Because in the pool hall, the air conditioner was broken. It was 94 degrees outside. Yeah. So now you can imagine that with just a handful of fans, I wouldn't want you to imagine this pool hall is in an old bank. So I want you to imagine a bank that had a single entry, right, from the 20s, and it's made of Bedford stone and has a basement, but the primary banking area, the banking floor and the lobby, take all of that out and now put pool tables in there. That's really, really high ceilings. Really, really high ceilings. And we have a good, I bet you there were probably maybe 70, 75 people. And we're shooting pool and we're dripping as we're shooting pool. So some of them we were watching, I was watching some people, and after about the third hour, they were falling out. And he said they were taking breaks out in their vehicle to get cool air on them. I did okay. I didn't fall out. And actually, like I said, I was winning. I won every one of my games, which resulted in my winning every one of my matches. And yay, I'm a sucker for awards and trophies, so I'm going to get some. And then prepare for a tournament I'm doing at the end of the month. Yay, good stuff. So again, the physical, I mean, I always kind of laughingly say how out of shape I am in, and in general I am, but I was able to sustain for 5 hours in the pool hall at over 100 degrees inside. And I think it would be safe to say it was close to a sauna. So if you can imagine being in a sauna and trying to shoot pool and keep your focus and everything else, I was able to do that. But that's why I slept in this morning. And I'm glad I did. I didn't set my alarm. I thought there was a chance that I might sleep in because I was wiped out. Physically, I was wiped out. But I thought, no, if need be, I can always message her, right? But I don't think I will. I don't think I'm going to miss the meeting. And I did 10 minutes, but I still made the meeting. And actually, I feel pretty refreshed. I don't feel wiped out and right? So clear indication that what I'd been doing to that point for my body and my mental attitude worked. And what have I been doing? Things that we talk about here on Morning Mindset. And what we're talking about here, he even says, take a look at your diet, get a cookbook, change it up. There are a lot of things that I will not eat anymore. I just won't, because I don't like the way they make me feel an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours later. I don't like the way it feels. My energy isn't that great. I'm able to sustain from 4:30 in the morning until usually 9:30 at night. Well, sometimes, depending on the level of mental activity, I'll have to take a 20-minute nap. Yes, I could be better. And that's one of the reasons why I'm even saying what I'm saying, is because I'm looking at this to cement in my mind, I can be better. I can be better than what I am now. So he goes into vitamins and diet, and not only the effect it has on the physical body, but on our mental health. Anybody's welcome to jump into the room, into the live stream, talk about this physical aspect of raising our energy level. I'm talking about our physical abilities. Some thoughts or points of discussion could be, how's your energy level at this moment? What is your most important source of physical, mental, spiritual energy? How can you apply the principles we just talked about so you'll have extra energy to achieve your own goals? All right, Melody, thanks. So glad you were here. So, do you push to the limit of your endurance, then rest and try again? Yeah, I do. I have a tendency to do that when it's needed. How can you avoid fatigue? Are most of your meals based on well-balanced diets? Do you take spiritual and mental vitamins daily by reading inspirational books? Is your energy being directed toward useful channels, or is it being short-circuited and wasted? Yes, Catherine, do you listen to your body? A failure uses up as much energy in his work at failing as a successful person uses in winning. God, everybody here familiar with the Serenity Prayer? Yeah, because this is in here. It says, a thought to steer by. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I've always said it as, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, people, places, and things, to the courage to change the things I can, myself, and the wisdom to know the difference. Please always help me take a step back to understand if it's me or if it's them. When is the emotion of fear justified or unjustified? And to be energetic, act energetic. So one of the things that we can do in positive mental attitude is keep our mind on the things we want and off the things we don't want. So let's focus. We have focus and drive. We have a goal that we want to reach. When it comes to our energy level, the goal must include a physical aspect. If we're finding ourselves mentally fatigued, muzzy-headed, what's going on? Did we get enough rest? Did we get the right kind of rest? Did we listen to our bodies, as Catherine is pointing out? So anybody want to jump in and share their experiences with us? I can share that recently I broke my habit with sugar, processed refined sugar. All right, junk food, candy bars, yeah. And it was, I thought it wasn't a big deal. I really did. I thought, well, I just won't buy it anymore. And then I caught myself buying it. And it's like, wait a minute, what's going on? Because I don't like, well, first off, I need to stay away from anything that's inflammatory, and sugar's an inflammatory. And I had just gotten on this long cycle, huge kick about just sugar. It's like, wow, got to have something sweet, got to have something. It was no longer a treat, put it that way. And so I made a conscious decision, a purposeful decision to limit or eliminate processed sugar. And in order to do that, as we've learned here, when we make a conscious decision, I had to replace that thought process with something else. I had to come up with, well, I can't just say I'm not going to, right? What am I going to do instead? So what I did was I said, right, if I think to myself that, oh, I really want a milkshake, or, oh, I really want that candy bar, or, oh, look at the bridge mix, which is my big thing, chocolate bridge mix. Take a moment. No. Take a breath. And what can I do instead? Do I really want it? And honestly, most of the times I really didn't want it. I just thought I did. And I'd go, well, let me have a glass of water instead. Let me, yeah, Kim saying Andy's mints. Oh, at one time, yeah. Do something different instead. And so I was able to retrain my thinking, and I haven't had any issues for the past 2 weeks, meaning that I haven't gone out and gone crazy with getting my sugar fix. And it's, it's just day to day, like anything else. It's just day to day, but I'm training my mind, right? And that's what we're talking about here, is we're training our thinking and doing something physical. And what I haven't done is I haven't deployed any kind of physical fitness regimen into my day yet. I haven't made a purposeful decision to do it. So, any comments or questions or with regard to the Serenity Prayer, it was in response to a golf champion who used to waste his energy with anger. Every time he'd fail at something, he'd want to wrap his golf club around a tree. It's wasted energy, isn't it? Always having a fit of temper in the moment. And that's when he was taught that Serenity Prayer to give him a little peace of mind and to take that breath and to take that step back. So we have a combination of food, fitness, affecting our mental capacities, affecting our ability to succeed, to reach our goals. Any comments or experiences that you want to share? Okay, been thinking about what you've been talking about this past week. This week I plan to do things differently. It's good to have a plan. Definitely good to have a plan. I would recommend, especially when it comes to raising our energy level on the physical fitness side, is don't expect to go all in all at once. As we learned in the book, to break the 1 mile, 4 minute, 1 mile barrier, he broke it down literally into chunks. I loved how he did it. Took that 1 mile, broke it down into quarter miles, and ran to his best at the quarter mile, figuring if I could get those under a minute, under 60 seconds, then cumulatively, I'll be able to break the 4 minute. And that's what he did. He took it one step at a time until he was able to run each quarter mile under a minute. Then the whole mile together and was able to beat and break the record by 0.4 seconds. But he broke it. And it was that mental attitude that I liked, where he said, in what others saw as a barrier, he saw as a gateway. I really like that. That it's just a different way to say it's not a problem, it's an opportunity. Right? It's not a wall, it's a shower curtain. So what else have we got? Exercise is one of the things I'm getting started with this week. Going to focus on the result. All right, exercise, excellent. I am not ready to commit to that yet. Obviously, I've thought about it, talked about it, but haven't made a purposeful decision on it yet. Let's bring Cindy in. Hello, my friend Cindy. How are you?
Good morning, Shirley. I'm great. How are you?
I'm well. Surprisingly.
Cool. I'm on the phone because the computer just kept knocking out. So
okay.
This will stay on. My thing is finding one day the energy's there and one day the mental's there. It's getting them both combined sometimes to get me to move and be motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see what you're doing. I don't want to do that. I want to go do something else. So, I don't know. That's one of this whole issue this weekend was one of those things. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
So the single goal, excuse me, you have to make it where your drive and goal are matched, right? So what we're talking about here is a single goal to reach. So whether it's a daily goal or it's in the end a weekly goal, a final result, and then you break it down to determine what needs to be done each day to reach that goal is the mental part. That's what I think. I'm just going to throw it out to the group. Catherine's still talking about exercise. I quit trying to make a plan for exercise, just determined that I was going to move more. I tried that. I'm not moving much. So there's my problem. But actually, Cindy, it almost sounds like you're dealing with just distractions, right? Unable to stay focused. And both physical, there's no doubt that my physical well-being affects my ability to focus. There's no doubt about it. So we're talking about exercise, we were talking about diet, talking about taking rests if we're working too much, relaxing and playing, how that can help us get focused.
You know, you're talking about the diet, and I know that definitely affects it. Where I will eat not enough after you decide to say, no, that's not the case. But there are days where it's like, oh, I just don't feel like eating. I feel like eating. Well, then at the end of the day, I'm like, what did I accomplish? What did I feel like accomplishing? Nothing. Or, you know, grabbing whatever's around that might resemble a food at the moment. A lot of white flour food knocks me on my backside, emotionally as well as physically.
Okay, then. So I only heard about half of what you said because your volume's fluctuating. I'm sure others heard more.
Just try this. Does that make a difference?
Oh, that made a difference. Yeah.
Ah, okay. When I'm on the computer, the fan doesn't pick up. It's apparently with the phone it does.
Oh. Okay. Now you know. But even as you're talking aloud, are you hearing the spaces that you can fix or recognizing whatever the gaps are?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's up to us as individuals. I get to figure out what's going to actually work for me. It's like Kim is saying here that this week she's going to be focusing on the result she will get by doing what's going to be done this week with her physical well-being, right? So, and I think that's part of what gives us our drive. I mean, why else would I be motivated to do something? I mean, why else am I motivated to come on here every weekday morning? You know, it's not, I've told you, it's not the Charlene show. This isn't all about me. And yet I get a lot out of what you share and what others share. I get my jump start for the day, my mental keep goingness, because usually I've been working for a couple, 3 hours beforehand, and this is a nice break. And it gets me thinking and talking about something that will give me energy to move forward. But I'm very focused while I'm here. I'm not distracted by email or by other social media. I'm not, you know, trying to read while other people are talking. And I think that's the other reason why it's been such a help to me, is because I leave behind whatever it is I'm working on. And for however long we're together, I'm here. And that can be very energizing for me.
I agree with you. I mean, yeah, I start missing this thing in the morning. Getting late. Like, oh my God, it's 7 o'clock. I gotta get to the computer. You know, and I'm still, I said it several times, I'm still blown away by that. So it's got to be something. And then, in fact, I even said to my friend last night, we were on the phone until about 1:30. It's like, oh, I got to get up in 6 hours and have an appointment. Or she was like 8 hours and have an appointment. I said, I'm going to be up in less than 6. I got to be on the computer. I'm like, oh, no, I want to be on the computer. Because she said, you like that, don't you? I said, oh, yeah. It's like, it does set the morning. Sometimes I go back to sleep. Admit that. But a lot of times I'm still up, whether I'm up at, 10, 11, midnight. I'm still up now and sometimes stay and just start doing something until my body just exhaustion falls asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Wow. So welcome, Hunya and Christian. Glad you are here. We're talking, and shout out to Bill who snuck in on me. Hi, Bill. Good to see you here. We're talking about the importance of our physical well-being and as well as our mental, and taking care of our physical bodies to give us better energy levels. And by doing so, we are able to do more than we thought we were capable of. So if we have a physical challenge, we're able to focus on the end goal to achieve that challenge. So if I want to bench press 250 pounds, if I want to walk 10 miles, if I want to become a runner, if I want to shoot pool better, no, it's these are different various types of levels of physical activity, but you have to, it all begins with the mind first, believing that it actually can be done. I mean, that's essentially what we're talking about, right? Eating right, eating well, checking in right now where you're sitting, Cindy and others, what's your energy level right now? Mine's pretty good. And it sounds like yours is pretty good at the moment, Cindy.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, so it's a combination of factors, right? We really want to be here, so we're energized and we want to show up. What about the other things that we want to be energized for and it's lacking? How can we put these principles to use so to ensure that we can have the energy level that we need and want for a particular project or a particular physical activity we're going to do, or whatever event is coming up in our life? We're going to bring in Hunya, who with his military background, I have a feeling he's pretty disciplined when it comes to the physical.
No discipline at all. Bring on the cookie.
None at all.
Let's do
No.
it.
Good morning, Hunya.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Charlene. Good morning, Cindy. How you doing?
Good morning, Hunya.
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. So what's up? What do you think about all that?
You know what? I was reading this book, and I wish I remember the book. And hold on for one. Yes.
Well, I just feel something. You know what? Remembering how we feel when it was successful, when it is successful, might help too.
Excellent.
Go back. That's a good point. That's a good point. And it goes with sometimes it goes with kind of doing it, because a lot of times I think one of the reasons why we may not do something is because we feel like we may be doing it wrong, you know. And honestly, the wrong way to do it is to not do it at all, you know. So a lot of times motivation comes from doing it. And for me, anything I put into my schedule for the day gets done. Anything I put inside of the schedule. Of course, I've had to fail my way to success. I've put in too many things in the schedule, overlogged it, you know. So now I know I can put in 4 to 5 things in the schedule and it be like, you know, it'd be terrific. Yeah. So then the other thing is when I schedule it, the things that I have to do that is brain power. That's going to require a lot of brain power or will. I put it in the top thing for the morning to do, because by the afternoon, evening time, if I have to think much about it, then forget about it. You know, my willpower, my freshness of thinking, all of that creativity has died down a whole lot. And that's just because I'm a morning person. And of course, that's because of the military. You know, again, by 9 o'clock, we've already done what the average man would do for the whole day. But, but yeah, so setting up the more, intellectual things for the morning, like listening to Charlene, and then putting things on the calendar. Once I put things on the calendar, it goes into existence and it actually happens.
Well, so what we were talking about, that's a day-to-day get through kind of thing. So what we're talking about here and what was brought up in the book about raising your energy level is, let's do this on purpose, right? So the first story that was brought to us was how Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, and how he did it by, of course, it was in the 1950s. What he did, yes, we all know right now that the 4-minute mile is like ridiculous right now. But at the time, that just means that there's another that needs to be broken, right? All records are meant to be broken. What he did was he looked at it two different ways. The first way he looked at it was that it wasn't a barrier or a stopping point or an impossibility. Instead, he looked at it as a gateway. The second thing that he did was how he took that 1 mile and he broke it down. And what he did was he pushed himself in 1/4 mile increments, resting in between. There is so much we can take from that. Just as you, and the reason I'm bringing it up that way is because, Hunya, when you were talking about our day-to-day and how you schedule, right? You push yourself mentally and physically. If it's on your schedule, it's going to get done. And that's what we're talking about here, is that we do that. And if we do that often enough with the proper nutrition, the proper self-care, the rest and relaxation in between, and have a little play in there, we're going to be able to train ourselves to get that much more done. So while right now your schedule may be loaded up and overloaded just because it's unusual, if we look at it as, can I break that down so that each time I accomplish what I want to, I take a small break, then I go full force and I take a small break and I push myself over a period of time, that could become a normal day schedule and something more could be added the next day. That's what I'm getting out of the story of Bannister. All the while taking care of the physical part, eating right, physical exercise, and what have you, to physically raise our energy level. Because that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about the spiritual stuff right now. We're talking about physically raising our energy level. It does start in the head and does start in the spirit, but physically to raise our level. I've got a huge storm that just decided to come to my place.
It looked like it got darker.
So if I suddenly drop out, we know it's a storm. Or if you see a look of panic on my face, it's because the tree that is now bending like this has broken. So just so you know, go ahead. What do you think?
You know what, you hit the nail on the head, and it's all about doing it in increments. And a lot of times it happens because, and that's why the schedule is there, because a lot of time you bite off more than you can chew. And the schedule is there so that you can make increments. It's not about doing the big thing. It's about those little small footsteps. It's like, okay, I'm going to walk a 1/2 mile today, because you know your goal to the end of the year is to run in a 5K or to run in a 10K. And that's how you schedule it. So it's so important that you set it like that, Charlene, is when you break it down and you actually start seeing it as a gateway. That's a very good insight.
Nice, isn't it? Yeah, I love the way he said it, because that came out of the book. That's the way he looked at what other people were saying was a barrier, meaning it's a stopping point. It's the wall. You can't break through it. He wasn't looking at it as a breakthrough. He was looking at it as, well, that's just a gateway, which to me says that those who say this is a problem, the other side is, it's just an opportunity.
Very true.
And seeing it the way he just did it with barrier and gateway made that problem opportunity suddenly become clear for me.
Very true. I remember at one point, when I started my first business, I was able to partner with the YMCA, which recently, well, none of us know about it ever happening, actually having a partnership with the YMCA. So my business was one of the first. And I remember the barriers. And I remember sitting at home with my wife, and I said, this is what I want to do. And my wife said, no, that's not going to work. And then I brought my idea to Scores, where they have the business people, the retired executives. And I remember them laughing at me in the meeting, and it was horrible. I was almost in tears. They're telling me, man, listen, your idea sucks. That's like straight up. It was like, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And I tell you what, my idea had a lot to do with getting a lot of kids off of the street, and it was one of those things where it was like, this is not what I want to do. This is what has to happen. You don't understand. Like, this is what has to happen.
Yeah, don't tell me I can't. It has to happen.
Right. Just tell me what I need to do. So they would tell me, well, first off, it wouldn't happen because you would have to have this. So instead of me listening to it as a barrier, I was like, aha, I need that. And I say, and the only way you're going to get that is if you go to the congressman, or if you go to the senator, or if you go to the judge. And I'm like, I can do that. What's the problem with that? And like, and the judge will never give you that because you will need the commissioner of police to sign off on it. And I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. So it did end up happening. It did end up coming to life. And it's like you said, it's not a barrier. It's a gateway.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Hunya. That clear example of the end goal in mind. And no matter what was thrown at you, looking at it as, oh, that just needs, great. Now I know where I need to go next. Thank you. That's,
yep,
you can say, I can say it however I need to say it to you. You're going to take it as, that's okay. Hello? Yeah. That's okay. We can.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just add to the list of what else. Great. Now I know where I'm supposed to go. Okay. I love it. Love it. Mm-hmm. So now we have that. You have that energy because you are, because you have the vision that you're called to do.
Purpose.
Okay, right? You have a purpose. You have that end result. You've clear. You know what it's going to look like. You just don't know how to get there. Now you're in the process of getting there. How do you physically maintain your energy level to your mental level? Because sometimes if you don't take care of your energy level, it doesn't matter. Now we're talking sustainability, right? All in, first couple of weeks, we're motivated, things are happening, yay, grand, woohoo, and then we wear ourselves out because it was an adrenaline rush. And we lose our energy, and we still have the mental energy, but physically, I'm not going to be able to stay up for another hour. Are you kidding me? This isn't going to happen. And then we talk ourselves out of it. So we can take some of the principles that were talked about with regard to our physical well-being that are also in this chapter. And that is, take a look at the vitamins and minerals and nutrition that you're putting into your body right now. Is it working for you? Is that part of the problem? Because if you're taking rests, if you're relaxing and you're playing and you're spacing out the activity, but you're still completely worn down, get a cookbook. Try cooking something different. Try changing up your diet. And if that doesn't work, go see a doctor. Get yourself checked out, because you can be and should be as fit at 50 or 60 or 70 as you were when you were 20 or 30. Now, in the book, it says as if that's a new idea, because this was written in 1960, right? We are now talking 50 years, 60 years later, 50 years. And I was saying at the very beginning of the show, how many people we know who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s who are incredibly fit. Of course we can be as fit and have that high energy level at 50, 60, and 70. And if we have that regardless of our age and combine it now with our mental acuity, holy macaroni, we're unstoppable.
True.
Oh. All right, so I am now at the top of the hour. And so I'm going to close out the recording and keep this open for discussion. But the hour, we want to keep it too. So thank you, Hunya. Thank you, Cindy, for joining me in the live stream. And of course, thank you, everybody, for your comments in the chat, for participating in the discussion. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouKnow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. Until next time, have a great day.